Hello and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS. Welcome to another session of Target Prelims 2023, and this will be the fourth session where we are going to cover current affairs topics in the form of MCQ based discussion from Indian economy from the last 1 year. Now before I start the discussion, start with the MCQ discussion, here is a very important announcement. As all of you might know now, this Target Prelims 2023 initiative has started and today is the third day. Under this initiative, we have planned totally 22 sessions for you, and this is the timetable which will give you on which date which class has been scheduled. Please do not by heart this. UPSC will not ask any question on the timetable. But rest assured, in all these 22 sessions put together, we are going to cover all the current affairs for the last 365 days or last 1 year. Now, these sessions will be live every day, 7:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. And to avail the benefit of these sessions, all you need to do is simply subscribe to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS YouTube channel. Hit the bell icon so that whenever the class goes live, you will be given a notification. And not to forget, please provide your valuable comments in the section below. Now with this, let's start the discussion. Question number 62. As per the budget estimates, B simply stands for budget estimates for financial year 24, arrange the following incomes or receipts in declining order of their contribution. Now, this is not a very conceptual question. It is simply a factual question. Every year, I'm pretty sure all of you know this, the government of India comes out with a union budget. And in the union budget, I'm pretty sure yesterday I've told you, the two very important documents. Again, there are many other documents. The two very important documents are one, appropriation bill, which will give you the information regarding all the expenditures the government will incur by withdrawing the money from Consolidated Fund of India. And they will also give you information regarding all the incomes collected by the government in the form of finance bill. Now, have a look at this particular representation here. It's a simple pie chart. And in the pie chart, what you need to simply observe is, point number one, the left side of the pie chart or the first pie chart which is there on the left side, it's basically a representation of 1 rupee. It will give you a split up of all the sources of the incomes, the revenues which are collected by the government. Now please make a note of this, why UPSC tends to ask a question generally from these kinds of representations. So in case of the income sources, the most important source of income, I'm focused on the taxation here. It is corporate taxes, but much higher than the corporate tax as per the budget estimate has been the goods and services taxes. In addition to the corporate taxes, there is one more important source of income for the government, that is the income tax. Apart from this, union excise as well as customs. Now apart from these numbers, don't by heart the numbers. Just remember the sequence, which is the highest, which is the lowest. Now some of you look at it and say, but sir, government is not collecting in the form of taxes a large amount of money. Do not look at the taxes individually. Look at the taxes in summation. Look at the taxes in summation. No doubt government is borrowing a huge amount of money. No doubt. Government is borrowing a huge amount of money. But take the taxes in summation, you will realize that if you basically deduct these three, that is 34 to 36, 36 plus 6, 42. These are non-tax receipts. If you remove 42, you are left out with 58% of the incomes or the receipts collected by the government as per the estimates are in the form of taxes, either direct taxes or indirect taxes. And equally on the other side also, please have a look at it. Where does the government spend the money? Where does the government spend the money? It will basically spend the money in the form of these expenditures. The most important expenditures are interest payments. Remember this, yesterday also I told you, if the debt goes very high, if the fiscal deficit is very high, the interest burden becomes higher, etc., etc. We have made a discussion on this yesterday also. So out of total 100% or 100 paisas, 20 paisa is in the form of interest payment. Sponsored schemes and central sector schemes around 26 paisas, right? More than 1/4, etc. So please make a note of this. UPSC has a tendency to ask questions on this. Now coming back to the question here. As per the budget estimates, arrange these in descending order. GST, corporate tax, union excise and customs. And if you remember just now we have seen this. GST has the highest estimate, that is 17%. Corporate taxes is at 15%. Union excise is somewhere around 7% and the customs is at 4%. Right, already it has been given in the form of descending order of their contribution itself. Right, so the highest will be 1, lowest will be 4. Right option for the question number 62 will be option A. Option A is the right one. Now let me go to question number 63. Consider the following regarding LRS. Consider the following statements regarding LRS. Now before I go forward, what is LRS? LRS simply stands for Liberalized Remittances Scheme. Liberalized Remittances Scheme. Now what is this idea of a liberalized remittances scheme? Under the LRS, which has been introduced by Reserve Bank of India, it's been more than 15 years since its introduction. Government of India says the individuals in India, individuals, and when I say Government of India, don't say sir, it is not Government of India, it is RBI. RBI is part of Government of India. Or let me basically take your own point, RBI. RBI simply says individuals in 1 year, are allowed to take up to $2.5 lakh. Are allowed to take up to $2.5 lakh outside India without having to take any approval from Reserve Bank of India. I'll repeat it again. Right, have a look at this. The RBI, Reserve Bank of India, says individuals up to 2.5 lakh rupees are allowed to take out of India without any approval of Reserve Bank of India. Now if you have any issues, please do put it in the form of comments. Right, please do put it in the form of comments. Let me address if you have any issues. So I'll repeat it. Up to 2.5 lakh rupees for individuals. You can take it out of India without any approval. Now, so what if I want to take more than 2.5 lakh rupees? What if I want to take more than 2.5 lakh rupees? 2.5 lakh dollars, sorry. In that particular case, you'll have to take the approval of RBI. You'll have to simply take the approval of RBI. Some of you are asking, is it rupee or dollar? It is a dollar. I've written it. One time I said rupees, my mistake. It is dollars. It is written on the right slide. Please have a look at it. So have a look at this. Up to 2.5 lakh dollars you can take out of India. For what purposes? For what reasons? You can take it out either for conducting the capital account transactions. Under the capital account, certain transactions are allowed in the BOP. You can take it out for that. Or you can also take it out for revenue account transactions. For certain revenue account transactions, you can also take it out. So it is not only dependent, or it is not only associated with capital account, it is also associated with the revenue account. Now this is very important. Why? Under the concept of LRS, the limitation is that $2.5 lakh per annum for individuals. What if a company wants to take it out? Can it avail it under the LRS? No. What if a Hindu undivided family? No, it is not allowed. Only for individuals it is allowed. Sir, any example of this? Imagine you want to invest in the shares of Tesla company. All of you heard of the company Tesla? You want to invest in, let's say, shares of Tesla company, right? You will have to invest in dollars in the USA market. So you can take out dollars under the liberalized remittances scheme. It is allowed, right? You want to go for tourism, you want to invest somewhere, etc. Under this scheme, you can take out up to $2.5 lakh. Now, why it was there in the newspaper? What is the importance of this? Please remember this. Very recently, there is a concern which has been raised by the Government of India that even the tax departments have shown a concern regarding the LRS scheme. Their argument is, some of these people, some of these individuals, they are taking out dollars out of India to invest for betting purposes. They want to invest, they want to put their money, take the dollar out of India, put their money in betting, lottery. It is not allowed. I hope you understand this, right? It is not allowed, right? That's the reason now there is a concern that, right, we will have to focus on for what purposes LRS scheme has been utilized. Now have a look at the question now. It is available to HUF, corporates and individuals. Statement 1 is wrong. If the limit on LRS is removed, it will help in moving towards full capital account convertibility. Now what is the side of a capital account convertibility? We have a current account, we have a capital account. In the balance of payments, of course I am talking about balance of payments. We have a current account, we have a capital account. As per IMF, we are supposed to have 3 accounts. As per IMF, we are supposed to have 3 accounts, that is current, capital and financial. But in case of India, Reserve Bank of India, which is the authority to publish the balance of payments, historically has compiled 2 accounts. But please remember, it will also publish 3 account data as well. So when you talk about current and capital account, we have full convertibility in the current account. I repeat, we have full convertibility in the current account. We have partial convertibility in the capital account. Now what is the meaning of the convertibility here? Convertibility means, is there any restriction over converting your domestic currency into foreign currency and vice versa? I'll repeat it again. What is the basic idea? Convertibility simply means, is there any restriction over converting your domestic currency into, right, foreign currency and vice versa? In case of current account, no restrictions are there. In the capital account, restrictions are there. That's the reason we say current account fully convertible, capital account partially convertible. And please remember, there is a name of the committee here, SS Tarapore Committee. SS Tarapore Committee. And it was this SS Tarapore Committee which has recommended that we should have full capital account convertibility. We should have full capital account convertibility. But even today, as I am speaking, 7:42 p.m. today, we do not have full capital account convertibility. We have partial capital account convertibility. Done? Now, if the limit on LRS is removed, what do you mean by limit on LRS is removed? Until now, without any approval, you are allowed to take $2.5 lakh per annum. Until now, you are allowed to take up to $2.5 lakh per annum. Now have a look at this. If this limit is removed, what does it mean? There is no limit. Without any approval of Reserve Bank of India, you can take any amount of dollars outside India. Will it promote convertibility or not? Think of this. Will it promote convertibility or not? Of course, yes, it will promote convertibility. Any issue with this? Second statement is correct, by the way. Some of you are saying it is wrong. No, it is correct. Why? Beyond 2.5 lakh, conditions are there. Restrictions are there. Now you are removing the restriction. So you will promote full convertibility then? Yes, it will promote. It will be moving towards full capital convertibility. Right, so that is the second statement which is correct. Right option for question number 63 will be option B here. Question number 64. The term twin deficit, often appearing in newspaper, is associated with what? The term twin deficit, very famous in the last 1 year. What is this concept of twin deficit? Now whenever you are talking about twin deficit, please remember this. There are 2 deficits that you need to look at. One, right, basically the concept of the fiscal deficit, FD. And when I am writing FD here, I am not talking about fixed deposit, I am talking about fiscal deficit. And the second one is current account deficit, CAD, FD and CAD. So whenever you have 2 deficits experienced by an economy, those 2 deficits are referred to as twin deficit. Now first one is a fiscal deficit. Third one is current account deficit. Right option for the question will be option C. But let me explain to you the basic idea of a twin deficit here, because this can be asked. Either a straightforward question like this they can ask you, or they can ask you, right, how twin deficit can happen. Let me explain this. How both of them are related. How is that? FD and CAD both are related. Right? Why they are referred to as a twin deficits? Why both are a concern, etc. Now follow this very carefully. Whenever fiscal deficit is very high, think of this and let me know. Whenever the fiscal deficit is very high, what do you think will happen to interest rates in the economy? I will repeat my question. I'm looking at the comments now. If the fiscal deficit is very high in a country, what do you think will happen to interest rates in the economy? Do you think interest rates will be lower or higher? All of you will agree? Right, thanks a lot. All of you have said yes. Correct. Interest rates will be higher. Point number 2. If interest rate is higher, what will happen to foreign investments in India? Point number 2. Follow this carefully. If interest rates in India become higher, what do you think will happen to foreign investments? More and more foreign investments will come to India. All of you will agree? Right, some of you are saying they will decrease. No, my dear. If you are a foreign investor, do not complicate economics. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. If you are a foreign investor, would you want to earn higher interest rates or no? Of course, yes. If you want to earn higher interest rates and in India interest rates are higher, will you not bring more money into India? Answer is yes. Foreign investments will come to India, which means dollars will flow into India. Dollars will keep on flowing into India. This is one point. Now second point or next point, have a look at this. When FD is very high, what will happen to inflation in India? Let me know. What will happen to inflation in India? Inflation in India automatically will become higher. All of you will agree? Right? Inflation will become higher. And now you tell me, if inflation is higher, what is the impact on exports? What is the impact on exports? If inflation becomes higher, exports will go down. If inflation in India is higher, exports from India are expected to become low competitive or go down. Now if exports will go down, what will happen to trade deficit? Simple. Continue to connect the dots. What will happen to trade deficit? Trade deficit will increase. And when the trade deficit will increase, what will happen to current account deficit? Trade deficit will widen. What will happen to current account deficit? Current account deficit will also increase. So can you make a connection here? Can you make a connection here? Fiscal deficit is remaining higher and current account deficit is also increasing, which means both are connected to each other. Simple idea. There are multiple theories. To prove this. But I hope you can understand. I have given you one hypothesis. How both of them are connected to each other. FD increases and CAD also tends to start to increase. This is the basic idea. Now, I can give you one more example also. Right? Continue here also. Right? Look at the first example that I started with. Foreign investment will come into India. Dollar inflow will take place. Now you tell me, if dollar inflow increases, what will happen to rupee value? Let me know. I hope you understand. If dollar inflow increases, what do you think will happen to rupee value? Rupee will start appreciating. Some of you are saying depreciating. Then you are simply confused between when rupee will appreciate, when rupee will depreciate. Rupee in this case will appreciate. Why? There is a higher demand. There is a higher demand for rupee. Rupee value should appreciate. Now tell me, when rupee appreciates, what will happen to export competitiveness? When rupee appreciates, what will happen to export competitiveness? Will exports competitiveness increase or decrease? Export competitiveness will come down. Exports will become costlier. And on the other hand, what will happen to imports? Imports will become cheaper. As a result of this, trade deficit will increase, current account deficit will also increase. Is the logic okay with all of you? Is the logic okay with all of you? I've given you two examples here, right? There are different theories regarding this. But what you can basically understand is this. Both the fiscal deficit as well as current account deficit, both of them are connected to each other. And right, if both start increasing for a country such as India, it's a cause of concern. It is a cause of concern. It is a very important problem which has appeared in the context of Indian economy in the last 1 year. And for this only, I hope you remember in the second class I told you, Reserve Bank of India as well as Government of India have implemented certain reforms. Even yesterday also I told you about this. External commercial borrowings have been doubled. The limit under this have been doubled from 750 million to 1.5 billion. I took one question on NRE, right? NRE deposits. The CRR, right? The CRR ratio which was applicable to NRE deposits, incremental deposits, that has been waived off. Some of the exports have been restricted in order to control the trade deficit, etc., etc. Right? So this is a basic idea. Now, if you can't understand the whole sequence, don't worry. Remember, twin deficit means two deficits, fiscal and current account deficit. Okay, fiscal deficit and current account deficit. Now, let me go to question number 65. Consider the following regarding the peace clause. Consider the following regarding the peace clause. Very often cited in the newspaper. Now, let's start. What is the meaning of the peace clause? Right? Now, understand the logic here. Under World Trade Organization, WTO, India is one of the member countries. India is one of the member countries. And India has signed an agreement by the name of AOA. What is this AOA? Agreement on Agriculture. Under the Agreement on Agriculture, there is one clause, one provision which will try to restrict how much domestic support will be provided by the member countries for agriculture sector. I'll repeat the statement. Right, under WTO, there is one agreement on agriculture. India is a signatory of it. And under the agreement on agriculture, there is one provision which will try to restrict means control, how much domestic support is given by the government to the agriculture sector. Why? If the governments will keep on providing more and more subsidies, which will distort the market, these exports, agriculture exports, will become very, very cheap, will destroy the international trade. For example, imagine in case of India, I'll take an extreme example. You tell me whether this is right a concern or not. If government of India will provide, let's say, electricity free of cost to agriculture sector, right? Let's say irrigation equipment free of a cost, seeds, fertilizers, etc. free of a cost, will agriculture exports become more competitive from India or not? Simple idea, by the way. Will it promote more and more export competitiveness from India or not? Of course, yes. And what if other countries not unable to provide such amount of subsidies then? If other countries are not able to provide such amount of subsidies, our agriculture exports will go to their market, their farmers will suffer. That is the precise reason we are trying to restrict the amount of subsidies which will distort the market like this. And that is called as de minimis clause or de minimis level. De minimis level. And as per the WTO, right, as per the WTO, the de minimis level is supposed to be 10% of value of production in case of developing countries. The de minimis level is supposed to be maximum 10% of value of production, right, for developing countries, and for developed countries it is 5% of value of production. Now, what is this de minimis level? Why it is important? Please understand, Government of India provides a lot of these subsidies which are trade distorting. Trade distorting simply means there is a box under the WTO called as amber box. Under WTO Agreement on Agriculture, there is one classification of subsidies which is called as amber box subsidies. For example, in case of India, fertilizer subsidy, MSP, all these are amber box subsidies. Now the concern is that Government of India is providing subsidies which is more than 10% of value of production. India is a developing country. So India has given more than 10% of value of production in the form of subsidies. So other countries now can simply drag India to dispute settlement body, file a complaint against India. But please understand, in order to protect the developing countries, I'll repeat the statement. In order to protect the developing countries, there is one provision called as peace clause. There is one provision called as peace clause. Under the peace clause, developing countries, please remember this is not available to everybody. This exemption is not available to everyone. Developing countries, if they cross the threshold limit of 10%, even then other countries cannot file a complaint against them under WTO. I'll repeat it again. Developing countries, even if they cross 10% limit in providing the subsidies, even then no other country can file a complaint against India under WTO, because India is a developing country. And there is an allegation from USA. There is an allegation from USA that India has been crossing this 10% limit. And India also has stated, yes, I am crossing, I will use peace clause. I will simply use the peace clause. India has used the peace clause twice in two years now. In last 2 years, India has become the first country to use the peace clause twice. Now let's start. The provision is available for all the member countries under WTO. Is it available for all the member countries? No, only for developing countries. This will protect eligible member countries to cross the threshold limit on red box subsidies. Please remember, there is no red box under Agreement on Agriculture. There is no red box subsidy. There is a amber box, there is a green box, there is a blue box, there is no red box. So even the second one is wrong. Right option for this question 65 will be option D, neither 1 nor 2. Okay. Question number 66. Which of the following holds true during liquidity trap? Yesterday many of you had put a comment saying that, sir, what is this liquidity trap? We are coming across the concept of liquidity trap very often. What is that? I did not discuss it in the class because there was one question which I was supposed to discuss today. Let me start. Now let me give you a background here. Understand the sequence here. Concept is important. Understand this. Imagine you are an investor. You have money. You can invest and purchase certain instruments in the market, let's say bonds, but there is a concern that there could be recession which will happen in the, let's say, next 2 months. Point number 1. There is a concern that there could be recession in, let's say, next couple of months. Now think of this and let me know. If you are concerned that there is a recession, will you invest money or keep it in the form of cash? Think of it, right? Imagine you have money. You are concerned that there could be a recession in the coming months. Will you invest in the market, or you will try to prefer and hold more cash? You will hold more cash. Remember this. You will hold more and more cash. Now what is the concern here? What is the concern? This is the biggest concern. Reserve Bank of India, if people are holding more and more cash, don't you think Reserve Bank of India's policy will be ineffective here? Think of this, right? Reserve Bank of India's policy will be ineffective. Why? If there is a concern of recession, there is a reason. Why are you concerned? There is a reason. Reason is already the economy has slowed down, right? The economy showing stagnation indications, etc. At that point of time, RBI wants to reduce interest rates so that more and more investment will be done in the economy. It makes perfect sense, by the way. RBI will reduce interest rates so that investment will increase in the economy. But what is happening in the economy? People are concerned. People are worried that there could be a recession. Even though the interest rates are low, people are not investing. Everybody is trying to hold on to cash itself. Right? Because please understand this, there is a concern. There is a concern. It's not out of any irrationality. There is a concern there could be recession. So rather than investing, you'll simply hold your money. And during this period of time, some of you will say, sir, I will invest in bonds. Right? And this concept of liquidity trap was given by John Maynard Keynes. This economist says even the investment in the bonds will come down. Even the investment in the bonds will not take place. People will not invest in bonds. Why? Let me give you the idea here. When the interest rates are very low already, when the interest rates are very low, you purchase a bond and in the next month, let's say interest rate is increased. Think of it and let me know. We have discussed all of this earlier. You purchase a bond when interest rates are very, very low. Now you tell me in the next 1 month or 2 months, when the interest rate will go up, what will happen to market price of the bond? I'll repeat it. Right? You purchase a bond, you'll pay let's say 100 rupees, 120 rupees, etc. Interest rates right now are very low. After 1 month, interest rates will go up in the market. What will happen to market price of the bond? Market price of the bond will go down because it has to adjust for the yield rates. Right? I hope remember, I had given you one simple equation. The market price is inversely proportional to the yield rate. If the yield rate, that is interest rate, goes up, what should happen to market price? Automatically go down. So you paid 100 rupees, purchased a bond. After 1 month, the price of the bond has fallen down to 90 rupees. Can I call it as a capital loss? Let me know. Can I call this as capital loss? So for the investors, there is a concern that they would incur a capital loss. Right? This is exactly what happens during liquidity trap. Investments are not taking place. The central banker, the government, etc., they have reduced interest rates. Money supply has increased. Companies are not investing. Retail investors are also not investing. There is no demand for the bonds, etc. Everybody wants to hold on to cash. This is called as liquidity trap. Okay. Now, come back to the question here. The opportunity cost of holding cash is very low. In fact, various experts say that opportunity cost of holding cash is zero during liquidity trap. What is the meaning of opportunity cost is zero or very, very low? Even if you don't invest anywhere, you are not losing anything. I hope you understand this. Even if you don't invest anywhere, you are not losing anything. Right? Why? Interest rates are very low. Any problem with the statement 1? I'll repeat it again. Statement 1 is correct, by the way. I'll repeat it again. Look at the situation. Interest rates are very low. 0.25, 0.5, etc. So even if you invest, right, how much will you earn? 50 paisa, 1 rupee. So rather than taking a risk and investing and incurring a capital loss in the future, you will hold it in the form of cash only. So is there any opportunity cost here? No, opportunity cost is very low. Even if they say opportunity cost is zero, say it is correct. Right? So first statement is correct. Second statement. Investors during this phase would prefer to invest in bonds. No. Investors will not prefer to invest in the bonds here. Right? Why? I've already told you now. Right? Investors would prefer to hold it in the form of cash because they know that in the coming days, because there's a liquidity trap, this is not going to promote economic recovery, interest rates will be increased. Right? So first statement is correct. Second statement is wrong. So the right option for question number 66 will be option A. Option A is the right one. Okay. Question number 67. India is a signatory of which of the following agreements? Important question. Right? I don't expect UPSC to directly pick up this particular question. Right? Have a look at this. India is a signatory of which of the following? agreements. Right, so have a look at all these agreements. Right, UPSC can ask you a question on any of these agreements. Why all of them are there in the newspaper? Can I give you the context here? Can I say in the context of TRIPS, the global vaccine regarding COVID pandemic was there in the discussion? I hope you understand. Vaccination, right, was there in the discussion regarding TRIPS only. Right, GATS, General Agreement in Trade in Services. India is entering into free trade agreements with many countries. Australia, United Arab Emirates, we are negotiating with European Union, Britain, USA. There is a discussion of services. By the way, TRIPS basically stands for Trade Related Intellectual Property Rights. Trade Related Intellectual Property Rights. Is India a signatory to this? Yes. GATS, General Agreement in Trade in Services. GATS, General Agreement in Trade in Services. India is a signatory. Second one is also correct. ITA. Now you tell me, in the last 10 days, if you have read the newspaper, you will know this agreement very well. Information Technology Agreement. Information Technology Agreement. Is India signatory to Information Technology Agreement? Answer is yes, by the way. I hope you understand. Right, it is a signatory to Information Technology Agreement, but please understand, I'll write one more point here. Under the ITA, there are two rounds. Under ITA, there are two rounds. ITA 1 and ITA 2. Information Technology Agreement 1, Information Technology Agreement 2. You should be very careful with both of them. Why? Very recently, the WTO's dispute settlement body has found that India has violated the provisions. India has implemented certain not so fair trade practices and violated ITA 1 agreement. Information Technology 1 agreement. Sir, what is this ITA 1 and ITA 2? ITA 1 was signed in 1996 and India has implemented ITA 1. Under ITA 1 or basically ITA, what do they talk about? Information technology, that is certain equipments related to information technology, whether they are imported, etc., etc., taxes or tariffs should not be imposed on it. We should eliminate the tariff on it. Is it okay? I'll repeat it again. What is the basis of ITA? Either ITA 1 or ITA 2. What is the basis of it? The basis is that because we want to promote growth of information technology, whenever the electronic related components, best example, mobile phones, if these are imported, taxes, tariffs should not be imposed, they should be eliminated so that the goods or the trading of this is actually promoted. India is a signatory of ITA 1, it is not a signatory of ITA 2. ITA 2 happened very recently in the most recent, one of the very recent the ministerial conferences as such, 2015 ministerial conferences. So ITA 1, India is a signatory of this. ITA 2, India is not a signatory of this. Fourth one, TRIMS, right? Trade related investment measures. Trade related investment measures. 4 is also correct. 4 is also correct. So 1 is correct, 2 is correct, 3 is correct, 4 is also correct. So right option for this question will be option D, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now let me make it a bit more complicated. Let me introduce one more concept here. Right, have a look at this. Have a look at this. You will come across a concept called as multilateral agreements. Multilateral agreements and plurilateral agreements. Please be very careful with respect to these terms. Multilateral agreements and plurilateral agreements. What is this idea of a multilateral agreement? The member countries will have to implement these agreements. Best example of this is GATS, General Agreement in Trade in Services. Right? GATS is the best example of a multilateral agreement. Any example of a plurilateral agreement? Information Technology Agreement is a plurilateral agreement. What do you mean by plurilateral? It is not compulsory for all the member countries to abide by this agreement. It is given as an option. I'll repeat it. It is not compulsory for all of them. It is just an option. It is not an obligation, just an option for the member countries to negotiate, sign and implement these agreements. The best example of a plurilateral agreement is Information Technology Agreement. That's the reason I said India is a signatory for ITA 1, is not a signatory in ITA 2. Right? Any other example of a plurilateral agreement? Government Procurement Agreement, very famous. I'll connect it to current affairs again. Government Procurement Agreement. Sir, in what context the GPA was there in the newspaper? India UAE FTA. India UAE FTA. Please be very careful. One of the provisions or one of the areas that has been covered under the India UAE FTA, right, is Government Procurement Agreement itself. Right, so that is a basic idea for multilateral, plurilateral trade agreements or simply agreements. Now, question number 68. Consider the following statements regarding the dispute settlement under WTO. In the last 1 year, right, very recently also this was there in the newspaper. In the last 1 year, I'm pretty sure at least 100 times there has been a discussion on WTO dispute settlement. First statement, the decision of a WTO panel could be rejected only with a negative consensus. How many of you will agree to this? First statement is, the decision of a WTO panel could be rejected only with a negative consensus. Anybody? Answer is yes. Answer is yes. Statement 1 is correct. Please be very careful with these kind of statements. Now, what is the meaning of this? Generally, you come across the term called as consensus. Right? What do you mean by consensus? Everybody is agreeing. All the member countries, whoever is a part of the dispute settlement system, all of them agree. But what if I say negative consensus? Let me know. What if I say negative consensus? Negative consensus means all the parties, all the members is disagreeing. Everybody, right? Whatever is the number of member countries here, everybody is disagreeing. Please remember this. The panel's report in the dispute settlement body can only be rejected with a negative consensus. Right? Only with a negative consensus can you reject the report of the panel findings in a WTO settlement body. Right? First statement is correct. Now some of you are asking, what is this settlement body? Please understand, India and USA have a dispute, trade dispute. Anybody is disagreeing regarding this? India and USA have a trade dispute. Right? India, or let's say USA and China have a trade dispute. India and European countries have trade disputes. Now, whenever there's a dispute, how do we resolve them? We go to WTO. Under WTO, there is an authority called as Dispute Settlement Body. Dispute Settlement Body. And this Dispute Settlement Body will try to resolve the dispute, and one of the steps that they take is they appoint a panel. They will appoint a panel, expert panel. This panel will give a report. Now this report will either find country A as violating fair trade, they are not conducting fair trade, or the country B, it is not conducting fair trade. For example, the most recent one, in case of Information Technology Agreement, what was the finding of the dispute panel? What was the finding of this expert panel? This panel found that Indian policies, that is the government of India's policies, are not as per the fair trade policies. That is, government of India in the last couple of years have increased the taxes on various electronic imports, mobile phones, components of mobile phones, etc., etc. The government has increased the taxes, whereas under ITA, we are supposed to eliminate these taxes. So the panel has found India to be violating the fair trade principle. Now, what is the next recourse? That is also very important because I've got one question on it. If they find that India is violating fair trade policy, what is the option available for India? India can challenge the panel's findings. India can challenge the panel's findings at one more authority called as appellate body. Very, very important. India can challenge these findings of the expert panel at appellate body, right? They can challenge it, right? So please remember this. I'll come back to this again. Please remember it. Now, the decision of a WTO panel could be rejected only with a negative consensus. Yes. The principle of cross retaliation allows the country to impose penalties on exports from different sector other than one where the dispute is located. Second statement is also correct. Now, what is this idea of a cross retaliation? What is the principle of cross retaliation? Imagine US has filed a complaint against India that India is violating the norms under ITA, right? That is Information Technology Agreement. And the dispute settlement body has found that yes, India is violating the fair trade policy there. Now they will ask India to withdraw these policies. What if Government of India says, I will not do that? I hope you understand. Government of India says, I will not do that. Right? Just like you and me do. I will not do. You do whatever you want to do. What if Government of India says this? There is a recourse for it. Right? What is a recourse? Now, the other country, that is, let's say USA, which has been affected by the Government of India's policy, now they will be allowed to impose certain measures. They can take retaliatory measures against India. And it's not compulsory that they will have to take action against India only under the ITA. It's not that only the electronic components from India can be targeted. Absolutely no. The government of USA can prepare a plan, target service exports from India. I hope you understand this. They can simply target service exports from India. And services will come under which agreement of WTO? GATS? Any problem here? Let me know. Services will come under the regulation or coverage of what? GATS. So although the USA is aggrieved under ITA, the USA will be allowed to cross ITA, right? Look after, right? Go beyond ITA, target India's exports from other sectors. That is a cross retaliation. That is basically the concept of cross retaliation, right? Under this is allowed. So second statement is also correct. First statement is also correct. Right option for the question number 68 will be option C, both 1 and 2. Now question number 69. Which of the following were part of WTO Geneva package? Right? The WTO's Ministerial Conference 12. Very recently it was over. It is over, by the way. Ministerial Conference 12, please be very, very careful. And the package that was announced, the agreement that was done is basically called as a Geneva package. Under Geneva package, what has been covered? The question is on that. First one, permanent solution for the public stock holding. Even today, there is no permanent solution for public stock holding. Now, if you'll ask me, sir, what do you mean by permanent solution for public stock holding? Please go back to the earlier discussion. Do you remember the concept of de minimis level? Right, the idea of a de minimis level, wherein Government of India should restrict the domestic support which are trade distorting amber box subsidies to 10% of value of production. Now, Government of India says, I don't like it. I will not accept this particular 10% limit. Why? In case of India, the number of poor people are very high. The number of farmers who are poor are very, very high. The per capita income in case of India of farmers is very, very low. I need to provide support in order to ensure sufficient food grain production is there. So I'll keep on providing support, which you will count it as, right, amber box subsidies, and you tell me to restrict it to 10%. I will not be able to do that. And that is the precise reason. Please understand this. This dispute was raised by Government of India back in 2013, Bali Conference, very, very famous, Bali Conference. 2013 Ministerial Conference, during Bali Conference, Government of India says, I want a permanent solution for this. Because I will pay MSP, I will purchase food grains, you will count MSP as amber box subsidy, trade distorting measure, and other countries can take retaliatory measure against me. So I want a permanent solution for public stock holding. And that is the precise reason. That is the precise reason peace clause was introduced. Peace clause was introduced. After 2013, in 2015, one more ministerial conference, again the discussion was held. Government of India said, I want a permanent solution for this. No permanent solution. After that, 2017, at Buenos Aires, Argentina, one more ministerial conference was conducted. Government of India said, I want a permanent solution. Again, no permanent solution was found. Very, very recently, 2022 in Geneva, again there was a discussion. Government said, I want a permanent solution. No permanent solution has been found. Okay, so first one is wrong. Now, can you use elimination method here? Can you use elimination method? You'll simply realize right option is already there. Right option is option C. Waiver on patents for COVID vaccinations. Of course, yes. For 5 years, waiver on patents has been provided for COVID vaccinations. That is, companies will not stake claim over their patents, right? Other countries can use the patent, develop vaccines or produce vaccines in the respective country. Third one, continuing moratorium on electronic transmissions. Even this has been accepted. Electronic transmission simply means, right? I'll give an example. Imagine you will purchase a software from Microsoft, right? Let's say Microsoft, you will purchase a software. Can I simply say across the border, certain electronic transmission is taking place? Let me know. Across the border, certain electronic transmission is taking place. Can I give you one more example? Imagine you will purchase, right, let's say song, right? You will purchase certain token, etc. Across the border, electronic transmissions are taking place. As of now, taxes are not imposed on it. Tariffs are not imposed on it. So Government of India, along with many other countries, we wanted, right, to remove this particular restriction. We wanted to impose the taxes on it. Right now, under the MC12, that was not accepted. We accepted that. We'll continue to give it as a tax exemption. Tax exemption in the sense, will not be imposing any tariff on it. We'll continue to give, right, this, the exemptions will be provided. So third one is also correct. 2 and 3 are both correct. Okay, so right option is option C. Apart from this, I've given many other, right, let's say announcements in the Geneva package. Please have a look at it. Okay, now, question number 70. Question number 70, which of the following can be considered as a part of mode 2 of GATS? Right, the GATS. Now, why I have taken GATS here? Simple. If you look at the trend, couple of years ago, question was asked on trims. The idea of a trims. Question has already been asked on trims. So, UPSC will not repeat the question on trims very soon. GATS are very important because Government of India is conducting free trade agreements, negotiations, signing with many countries, and they are covering services as a part of the free trade agreement. Right? That is the only reason why I've picked up a question on GATS here. And the question is very much straightforward. Which of the following can be considered as a part of mode 2 of GATS? Now, what is this mode 2? Please remember this. Under the concept of GATS, General Agreement on Trade in Services, WTO divides the services into 4 types, 4 classifications. Rather than using the term 4 classifications, they will call it as Mode 1, Mode 2, Mode 3 and Mode 4. What is the Mode 1? Please look at the picture. Please look at the picture. And I hope you understand this. For all the 4, examples are provided. And there are 4 examples and none of them are one and the same. Do not say, sir, 2 and 4 is looking same. 1 and 3 are looking same. If they are one and the same, they will not give different pictures altogether. Please have a look at this. Mode 1, cross border. Right? Mode 1 is cross border. What happens in a cross border? The service supplier, service consumer will remain in respective countries. None of them will cross the border. Services will cross the border. Services will cross the border. Sir, any example? Imagine you will open a banking account in the Swiss account. You will sit in India. Swiss account or Swiss bank will remain in Switzerland. Across the border, can you provide services? Can you avail services? advertisement services, consultation services, etc. Second, consumption abroad. In case of the second mode, the consumer will cross the border. Consumer will cross the border, go to the country where the service provider is there and consume the services. I'll give a very simple example. The tourist from USA will come to India. Tourist from USA will come to India, right? Let's say book a room in Oyo. Very simple example. All of you can understand this. The tourist from USA will come to India, book a room in Oyo or use Ola services. So what is happening in this example? Service provider is not crossing the border. Consumer is crossing the border. That is mode 2. Mode 3, commercial presence. The consumer will remain in the same country, but the service provider will cross the border. Right, third one, service provider will cross the border. For example, if Oyo goes to USA, starts providing services in USA. Ola goes to USA, starts providing the services to USA. Is it not mode 3? And finally, mode 4, presence of natural persons. Right, what will happen in presence of natural person? Imagine you are a software engineer, you will cross the border, go to let's say Australia, and you will provide services to a company there. You are a freelancer, you are crossing the border, you will go to Australia, right? Stay in Australia, start providing the services to a company or let's say consumer in Australia. Can we give the same example or can we attribute the same thing for yoga teachers, dance instructors, doctors, etc.? So they will cross the border, go there, become a natural person in the second country and start providing services in the second country. That is basically the presence of natural persons, right? Or else another way of looking at it is they will cross the border. Now they are hired by a company which is going to provide services to a consumer in the foreign country. Okay, so these are the 4 modes. Please remember, all of them are different. All of them are different. Right, now, come to the question here. Which of the following can be considered as a part of mode 2 under GATS? First one, banks across the border providing services to foreign customers. You are sitting in India, bank is there in Switzerland. Is it mode 2? No. The foreign patients coming to India for treatment purposes. In fact, Government of India is promoting this. Have you heard of the term medical tourism? Medical tourism. The foreign patients will come to India for treatment purposes. Yes, it is a part of mode 2. It is a part of mode 2. Some of you are saying it is wrong. No, it is a part of mode 2. Foreign tourists will come to India. Mode 2 means what? Consumer will come to us. Service company will not go, consumer will come to the service company. Foreign tourist will come to India. Is it not mode 2 again? I have given the same example. Is it not mode 2? And fourth one, Indians touring the cultural places in India and staying in foreign owned hotels. Think of this. Indian tourists, right, you and me will start touring India because Prime Minister says, Apna Desh Dekho. Right, so you'll start taking a tour of whole of India. You'll go to Kanyakumari, you will go to etc. etc. You will stay in, let's say, Ritz-Carlton. You will stay in Ritz-Carlton Hotel. Ritz-Carlton is a foreign hotel, by the way. Is it mode 2? No, it is mode 3. Don't worry about this. It's not mode 2, it is mode 3. Why? The service provider has crossed the border. You have not crossed the border. Service provider has crossed the border. It is mode 3. So 2 and 3 are correct. Right option for question number 70 will be option C. Right, option C is the right one. Again, please understand, be very clear with this. Whether the consumer is crossing the border or right, the provider is crossing the border, etc., etc., right? Look at that. Look at the picture, automatically you will realize. Question number 71 now. Consider the following statements regarding RBI's Rupee payment system. RBI's Rupee payment system. Now some of you are asking, sir, can I get the screenshot of the previous picture? Now here is a very important reminder to all of you. Don't take the screenshot of the pictures that I'm using in the PPT. The PPT is available for download. Sir, where is it available? There is a thing called as a description. Just below the video, there is something called as a description. Not in full screen, of course. Not in the full screen when you minimize it. In the description, the PPT is available. Of course, it is in the form of PDF. Just go through the description. You will find a link for downloading PDF. And for that, you please don't have to pay anything or any money except in the form of your like button. Hit the like button, subscribe to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS YouTube channel, and keep on attending these particular initiatives that we have launched for you. Now let me start with question number 71. Consider the following statements regarding RBI's Rupee payment system. In the last 1.5 years, this has become very, very famous. Right? Of course, some of you will simply say, sir, what is this Rupee payment system? I've never heard of it. Of course, I'm talking about Ostro. Have you heard of at least Ostro? Nostro, Ostro, have you heard of it? You might not have heard of specifically Rupee payment system, but I'm simply talking about Ostro system. Okay, now let's start. This measure has been announced under FEMA, right? Yes. Please remember this. Under Foreign Exchange Management Act. Under Foreign Exchange Management Act. The concept of Rupee payment system that has been launched by Reserve Bank of India last year, it has been provided under the concept of FEMA itself. Right? So first statement is correct. First statement is very much correct. Second one, this will help in internationalization of Rupee. Yes or no? This will promote internationalization of Rupee. Of course, yes. Right? Because I'm pretty sure at least 10 times we have discussed this now. Idea of internationalization. Usage of Rupee not only in India, but outside India. Not only by the residents, but even by the non-residents for conducting transactions. Either it may be for goods, for services, for financial instruments, etc., etc., etc. Okay? Right? So basically, second statement is also correct. It will help in internationalization of Rupee. It will definitely help in internationalization. In fact, as per the recent data that has been given by the government itself in the parliament, government has stated that we are going to have Rupee payment system, Rupee trade settlement system with 18 countries. We will have Rupee payment system or Rupee trading system with 18 countries. Of course, how is that possible? With the concept of Ostro accounts and Nostro accounts. Right, idea for Ostro as well as Nostro. Now, I'm pretty sure all of you have gone through Ostro and Nostro, but I don't expect UPSC to pick specifically a question on technicality of it, but they will ask you the implications of it. What is the implication of Rupee trade system? Please understand this. What is the implication? What is the importance of Rupee trade system? What are we trying to achieve by promoting Rupee trade system? Right, that is a basic idea. Everybody I know, everybody would have woken up every day early morning 5 o'clock, right, kept in front of you the picture of the concept of Ostro and Nostro and would have by-hearted. Ostro means this, Nostro means this, in Ostro this will happen, in Nostro this will happen. But UPSC might ask you the implication of it, right, the implication, importance of it. Now, is it okay if I say, if Rupee trade system is promoted, right, it will basically reduce the dependence on dollars. It will reduce the dependency on dollars. You do not have to convert, right? You do not have to convert the Rupee to dollar and dollar to another currency. That is not required. You can directly make a payment in rupees and receive the payment in rupees. So requirement of dollars will not be there. Conversion to dollars will not be there. Second, the pressure to maintain Forex reserves will also come down. True or false? The pressure to maintain Forex reserves will also come down. You do not have to maintain Forex reserves now. And very often I'm pretty sure you must have read in the newspaper, Forex reserves are declining. It is a cause of concern for the government, etc., etc. Third one, what is the impact of volatility? What is the impact of exchange rate volatility on trading in India will also be reduced. Impact of this volatility will also be reduced. And fourth one, you can use this tool, that is Vostro and Nostro account Rupee trade settlement system, to overcome, right, to basically circumvent any sanctions that are imposed by government of USA. Any sanctions which are imposed by, let's say, G7, right, or let's say even G20 countries on any other country. Even if they impose a sanction, they will not allow the country to use the SWIFT system. You can use this system to circumvent it. You can use it to continue to conduct trade without having to be worried about, right, whether the country is allowed entry into SWIFT or not. The best example for all of this is India's trade with Russia. The best example in the last 1 year, India's trade with Russia is basically this argument. Now let me go to question number 72. Consider the following statements regarding RODTEP. RODTEP. Remission of duties and taxes on export products. Remission of duties and taxes on export products. Statement 1. It will help in achieving zero rating of exports. It will help in achieving zero rating of exports. Statement 1 is correct. Right, statement 1 is correct. What is this idea of a zero rating of exports? Let me define it in a very, very simple way. Throughout the whole value chain, for a product, tax exemption will be provided. Taxes will be exempted throughout the whole value chain of the product. That is, imagine you are a manufacturer of this marker and you are an exporter. So whatever transactions are conducted, purchasing of raw materials, etc., etc., the whole value chain, on the whole value chain, no taxes will be imposed. Even if these are imposed, they will be given back to you. That is the meaning of exemption here. Right? Whatever taxes are there, they will be given back to you. Right? That is in simple terms, meaning whole value chain is a tax exempted. Right? There will be no taxes on the whole value chain for a product which is to be exported. That is called as a zero rating of exports. Zero rating of exports. Now, why there is an importance to zero rating of exports? Importance is very simple here. If you have a zero rated export, the competitiveness of exports will automatically go up. Any problem with this? If you have a zero rated exports, the competitiveness of the export automatically will increase. And don't you want to increase more and more exports from India? Of course, yes. You want to increase more and more exports. So you want to provide or refund, remit all the taxes. These are technically called as embedded taxes. Either the taxes are embedded because of the central taxes, state taxes, or even local taxes. These embedded taxes will be remitted back to the exporter so that you can achieve zero rating of exports. And this will promote competitiveness of exports. So first statement, it will help in achieving zero rating of exports, correct. It is being administered by the Ministry of Commerce. Many of you will believe, right? You will end up to believe that this is correct, but this is wrong. Second statement is wrong. It is being administered by Ministry of Finance, that is a Department of Revenue. Within the Ministry of Finance, there is one department, a Department of Revenue. It is the Department of Revenue, that is Ministry of Finance, which is administering, right, that is implementing, right, the RODTEP scheme. It is not Ministry of Commerce. Right, so first statement is correct, second statement is wrong. Right option for question number 72 will be option A, only one is correct. Okay, now arrange the following in decreasing order of their values in the Forex reserves. Straightforward, factual question. Right, where I've picked up this question from? It is from Economic Survey. This is straightforward from economic survey. Right, from the economic survey, I've picked up this question. Right, the Forex reserves, the custodian of Forex reserves is the Reserve Bank of India. Point number 1. The custodian of Forex reserves is right, the Reserve Bank of India, manager of Forex reserves. Now, next point, the Reserve Bank of India will manage Forex reserves under 4 heads. These are 1. The foreign currency assets, FCA, foreign currency assets, such as dollars or dollar bonds. I hope you understand the difference between both of them. I told you dollars, one example, and second one is dollar bonds. Both are different. Right? In the same way, euros, euro bonds, etc. These are foreign currency assets. Second one is gold reserves. Third one is reserve tranche, also referred to as gold tranche at IMF. Reserve tranche or the gold tranche at IMF. And the third one, the third one is, it should be fourth one, right? In case of reading out, it should be fourth one. That is STR, special drawing rights. The gold tranche as well as special drawing rights are from IMF itself. International Monetary Fund are from IMF. So foreign currency assets, reserve tranche, STR, right, and gold reserves. You'll have to find out. It's a factual question, by the way. And most of the times the ranking, right, ranking will remain same. It will not abruptly change. Most of the times ranking will remain same. Now what is the ranking? Which is the highest, which is the lowest? This is as per the economic survey, the most recent economic survey. You can see the 4 components here. The 4 components are gold, reserve tranche position, RTP, the special drawing rights, and foreign currency assets. And the last column is the sum total of all of them. This is the sum total of all of them, that is 46,54,920 crore rupees. Should you buy heart it? Please don't. Please do not buy heart it. UPSC will not ask you these numbers. But apart from this, what you should observe is what is a breakup, right? How much is this? How much is this? Etc. Most of it will be in the form of foreign currency assets. Most of it, right? It will be the foreign currency asset. So obviously the first one will be what? Foreign currency asset. Now after foreign currency assets, the second highest is the value of gold. Second highest is value of gold, followed by this is STR, and the lowest is reserve tranche position or the gold tranche. So highest is foreign currency, gold, STR, and the RTP. Let's start. Foreign currency asset, that is the first one. Foreign currency asset is the first one, followed by this is gold, 1 followed by 4. Now there is only one option, 4th is not visible, don't worry, but even if you complete all the sequence, you will get the same thing, right? So 1, 4, followed by this is STR, the lowest one is the reserve tranche. The correct option for this question will be option B, 1, 4, 3 and 2. 1, 4, 3 and 2. Done? Okay. Question number 74. But before that, any questions? Let me know now. So far we have discussed so many questions. Any doubts? Please do let me know. Doubt about yesterday's 57th question? Please do let me know. What was the 57th question all about? SDR abbreviation, special drawing rights. Let me show it to you. Special drawing right. SDR specifically stands for special drawing right. Special drawing right, SDR. Okay. RODTP is not under the Ministry of Commerce. Please understand, I did not, the statement which was given in the question was, under which ministry administration is done. Administration means who will provide the subsidy like this. It is not the Ministry of Commerce. It is not the Ministry of Commerce. Administration, the provision of remission is not done by the Ministry of Commerce. It is done by the Department of Revenue. Liquidity trap. Liquidity trap, simply understand this. It is a situation wherein there is too much of liquidity in the market. Liquidity means money. Too much of liquidity is there in the market. investments are not taking place. In fact, when there is too much of liquidity, what would you expect? Think of this. When there is so much of liquidity, what do you expect? The interest rate to be lower, right? People will invest more, people will consume more, right? Companies will invest more, etc. But that is not happening. That is the precise reason this is called as a liquidity trap. And why this is not happening? You as an investor, you realize that the interest rates in the market are very low. There could be recession in the coming days, right? Your liquidity is very high. So when the liquidity is very high, what is the next option available for RBI? They'll have to increase the interest rate. So rather than investing in a bond, you'll hold cash. Companies are concerned about recession, they will hold the cash. That is basically the idea of, right, the liquidity trap. Fiscal deficit in relation to interest rate. Fiscal deficit represents borrowing. Simple idea. Borrowing, right? So when you borrow more, demand for the money goes up. Now you tell me, if the demand for the money goes up, what will happen to interest rates in the market? What will happen to interest rates in the market? Interest rates in the market will automatically go up. Does it make sense or not? Let me know. Does it make perfect economic sense or not? When people will start demanding more and more money, right? Again, of course, here the people are not demanding, government is demanding, but the demand for the money is going on, or it is increasing. When the demand goes up, what will happen to interest rates? It will automatically go up. Okay? Amber box, green box. Simple idea. Amber box will consist of those subsidies which will create a distortion in the international trade. Whereas green box subsidies will not create any distortion or negligible distortion. Whereas blue box subsidies are those subsidies which are used by the government to limit production. These are distorting, but the government will use them to limit production, right? That is basically the blue box subsidies. And that's the reason in case of amber box subsidies, limitation is there. In blue box subsidies, no limitation. And in green box subsidies, no limitation. Okay, question number 74. Let's start. Which of the following are included in the SDR basket of currencies? SDR basically stands for special drawing right. Now the concept of SDR was introduced by IMF in 1969, right? Back in 1969. Now what is this idea of a SDR? All the member countries of IMF, remember this, all the member countries of IMF, right, will be allocated certain SDRs. These member countries can convert the SDR into important foreign currencies. For example, they can convert into dollar, or they can use the SDR directly to make a payment, to let's say IMF. For example, imagine you have borrowed from IMF. In fact, even when IMF will give loan, remember this, very recently IMF has approved loan to Sri Lanka. Although generally they provide, right, in the newspaper they provide values in terms of dollars, generally the loans are provided in the form of SDRs. So argument is SDRs are nothing but assets, currencies, right? But again, not like rupee. You cannot use SDR to purchase goods. These are given by IMF to its member countries. They are convertible into other currencies, right? That's a basic idea. Now, what is the value of one SDR? IMF will decide. IMF will decide what is the value of one SDR. And this value of SDR is determined by taking into consideration these currencies. That is a dollar, yen, yuan, either you can say yuan or renminbi. The euro is also there, and pound sterling is also there. These are the 5 currencies based on which the value of one SDR is determined by IMF. Right? So these are the important points here, and it's a factual question. Please have a look at it. US dollar is included, euro is included, yen is there. I've written renminbi. Renminbi is another name for yuan, don't get confused. And pound sterling is also there. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 7. So the right option for the question number 74 will be option D, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 7. Okay. Question number 75. The following has been set up as a one-stop solution for the information related to imports and exports. Right? The following has been set up as a one-stop solution. That is a single place to get all the information regarding imports as well as exports. The right option for this question will be Niryat. Please remember, it has become very famous now. The government of India is promoting Niryat portal. What is this Niryat portal? Please have a look at it. Niryat basically stands for National Import-Export Record for Yearly Analysis of Trade. Right? One more very small acronym for you to remember. Okay? Apart from all the other acronyms, one more small acronym. Right? So, National Import-Export Record for Yearly Analysis of Trade. This is a portal which has been set up, has been promoted by Government of India now. What is the use of the portal? It is a single place where you can get all the information regarding imports as well as exports. For example, right now you want to find out how much total exports have been done from India. You can get the information here. You can find what is the breakup of the exports. Right? You can find to which countries we are exporting how much, from which countries we are importing how much, what are we importing, etc., etc. All this information in real time will be made available in this portal, very famously referred to as Niryat portal. Okay, so the right option for this will be right option C, Niryat portal. Okay. Next, question number 76. Consider the following statements regarding digital banking units. Right? Digital banking units, DBU. Now, what is this digital banking unit? Government of India very recently has proposed that in 75 districts, because 75th year of independence. So, 75 districts, we will have digital banking units. Now, what is this idea of, right, the digital banking units? Now, have a look at this. In the digital banking units, I'll show you a picture here. There are two models which have been proposed. Two models. Right, what is this two model? In one of the models, it will be a self-service point of banking activity. Right, self-service. Self-service means what? Nobody is there to help you. Only machines are there. For example, you want to deposit money, a machine is there. You walk into this unit, that is a digital banking unit. You will see there is a machine, you will deposit money, a receipt will be given to you. And on the other hand, there is one more type of a digital banking unit which has been proposed, that is assisted. That is, certain people from the bank will be present there. You do not know how to operate, you don't know how this DBU will work. You will enter into this DBU, they will assist you. There are two models which have been proposed in the digital banking unit. Now, what is the importance of this digital banking unit? Government says we want to promote financial inclusion. We want to introduce more and more technology in providing these services so that the reach of the banking services will automatically increase. And please remember this. This is the list of the services that will be provided from the DBU. Right? This is a list of the services. But let me simplify this. And I've given a statement based on that only. Right? You will come across a concept called as a balance sheet. Right? Couple of days ago I've used this. I believe in the first class itself I used the concept of a balance sheet. In case of the balance sheet, have a look at this. There are two sides, and one side I will write assets, and on the other side I will write liabilities. Now, for a bank, lot of services will be provided on the liability side, lot of services will be provided on the asset side as well. Is it okay? I'll repeat it again. On the bank, lot of services will be provided on the asset side, lot of services will be provided on the liability side as well. For example, I will give you two examples more than sufficient to understand it. Can I simply say the loans are nothing but asset side? Think of it. Loans, right, are nothing but the asset side. So credit related services will be provided in the DBU. Collection of deposits. Deposits are liabilities. They have to be given back, hence liabilities. So deposit related services will also be provided in the DBU. Right, so have a look at this. The idea is the DBUs will provide the asset side services as well as liability side services. In simple terms, both the sides of a balance sheet services will be provided. Now, have a look at the first statement. Will provide services on both the sides of the balance sheet. Statement 1 is correct. These will be established only in tier 5 and tier 6 cities in order to promote financial inclusion. Statement 2 is wrong. The government document says they can be established in tier 1 to tier 6 cities. They can be established in tier 1 to tier 6 cities. Now many of you will start typing what is this tier 1 to tier 6? I have not taken any risk here. I have given the picture of what is tier 1 to tier 6. Please have a look at it. Do not by heart it. UPSC will not ask you this classification. UPSC generally doesn't ask you this kind of a classification because banking, census, etc. this same classification is same classification used. In fact, can I give you one more current affairs connection here? Have you heard of the scheme, right? That is Udan scheme. Concept of Udan scheme. In case of Udan scheme, again the concept of tier 2 cities, tier 3 cities, etc. will be used. Okay, so this is basically the idea of classification of the cities here. Please have a look at it. Do not buy it. Do not waste your time. Okay. Now, okay, before I go forward, sir, you did not mark the right option. Right option for question number 76 will be option A. Okay. Question number 77 now. Consider the following statements regarding Infrastructure Investment Trust. INVIT. Very famous. Why? I'll tell you. Please have a look at the PIB portal screenshot. This is a screenshot from PIB portal. National Highways Authority of India, NHAI. National Highways Authority of India has launched its first Infrastructure Investment Trust, INVIT. Minimum investment amount has to be kept very low at 10,000 rupees. Right now, what is this idea? Let me explain this. This is a very new model of investment. Please be very careful. Now, let me give you a connection here. National Monetization Pipeline. Right? We will discuss about this. Just give me some time. National Monetization Pipeline. NMP. Government has proposed a project by the name of National Monetization Pipeline. Under the NMP, which will be implemented from financial year 22 to financial year 25, government wants to utilize the assets which are either unserved or underserved. I repeat, government wants to utilize, mobilize the assets which are unserved as well as underserved. Right? Basically, these assets will be mobilized and money will be raised for the development of infrastructure projects. And that is where you can connect this to National Infrastructure Pipeline. National Infrastructure Pipeline. NIP. Any difficulty in understanding this? Under NIP, what is the proposal? We have identified around 9,000 crore, 9,000 the assets as such or infrastructure projects, and we want to develop these infrastructure projects, but for that we require money. So one of the ways government says I'll be able to generate money for development of infrastructure is National Monetization Pipeline. Right? Now let's start. Under the National Monetization Pipeline, the assets will be not sold. Please remember this. Assets will not be sold. Rather, assets will be utilized. That is, let's say, these can be leased. Assets will be leased out. Right? That is through, let's say, PPP, public-private partnership. Under the concept of public-private partnership, right, assets can be monetized. And please understand, we are not selling the asset, we are simply leasing the asset. Now, this is one type of let's say the model that is used in the National Monetization Pipeline. Another type of a model that we can use under this is Infrastructure Investment Trust. This is the connection. Infrastructure Investment Trust. INVIT. Infrastructure Investment Trust. Now question is, what is the meaning of Infrastructure Investment Trust? Let me explain it to you. Imagine certain highways are there. We will take all these highway assets, put it in a trust, and this trust will issue certain instruments to you. I'll repeat it again. Certain highways are there. Now don't you think we need to spend money to maintain highways? I'm simplifying this to a lowest level now. We need to spend money to maintain these highways. So what I'll do is, we'll take certain number of highways, put it into one group like this, and I will issue certain securities to you. These are called as Infrastructure Investment Trust units. These are referred to as Infrastructure Investment Trust units. Now you have given money to me. I will use the money to manage this infrastructure. Now any vehicle that will use this infrastructure, I will collect a toll. Revenue is generated. I will pay a certain amount of money to you. This is how Infrastructure Investment Trust model actually works. Any problem? Let me know. I'll repeat the concept here. Certain highways are taken, right? That is what NHI is doing here. Certain highways are taken. Now many vehicles will be using highways, so there is a revenue generation. But I want money to maintain this infrastructure project. So what I will do? I will issue certain units to you, just like mutual fund units. I will issue certain units to you. These are called as Infrastructure Investment Trust unit. You have given money to me. You own a unit. Now I will give you certain coupon amount, certain interest to you. How will I generate this money? I am maintaining national highways. And if I maintain national highways, will I not be collecting toll? I'm generating revenue, so I will give you the money. Right? So PPP methodology can be used. Infrastructure Investment Trust can also be used to generate money, monetize the asset. Please be very careful. Okay? Now this is the reason why Infrastructure Investment Trust was actually there in the newspaper. The units may be listed or unlisted. That is the Infrastructure Investment Trust, right? They can be listed, or they should be always listed or unlisted. Both are allowed. And I hope you understand what is the meaning of listed as well as unlisted. Listed means these units are available in trading, for trading purposes in the market. Unlisted means these are not available for trading purposes. So the units, that is Infrastructure Investment Trust, may be listed or unlisted. Statement 1 is correct. Infrastructure Investment Trust are regulated by Reserve Bank of India. No, these are not regulated by Reserve Bank of India. These are regulated under SEBI. Securities Exchange Board of India. These are coming under the regulation of SEBI. So second statement is wrong. First one is correct. Right option for question number 77 will be option 1, right, or option A. Okay. Now, question number 78. Consider the following statements regarding one nation, one fertilizer. Very, very important. One nation, one fertilizer. Even those who have read today's newspaper, of course, not so much coverage in Hindu. Yesterday, the government has announced a commercial release of nano DAP. Have you heard of this? Yesterday, Government of India has announced a commercial release of nano DAP. Lot of reforms the government is taking in case of fertilizer sector. Please be very careful. In today's newspaper, Business Standard, this was mentioned. Business Line, it was mentioned. Financial Express, it was mentioned, etc. Anyways, right, again, nano DAP, not one nation, one fertilizer. Let me start. One nation, one fertilizer. What is this one nation, one fertilizer? What one nation, one fertilizer simply means, irrespective of whoever is manufacturing the fertilizer, irrespective of whoever is manufacturing the fertilizer, it could be urea, it could be complex, it could be, right, DAP, it could be MOP. Of course, we don't produce MOP, but don't worry, we import it. So whoever is the producer of, right, these fertilizer, we will basically have a uniform standards now. We'll simply have uniform standard. What is this uniformity? These particular urea bags, or let's say DAP bags or MOP bags now, right, they will have specifications. That is single brand name. Throughout India, a single brand name of fertilizer will actually be utilized. Single brand name will be utilized. That is the name of the brand will be Bharat. Bharat fertilizer. In fact, this is being implemented by the government under an initiative, right? English name is One Nation, One Fertilizer, right? The actual name that has been used by the government is PMBJP. Again, do not make it political, stick to economics, stick to simply economics. PMBJP. What is this PMBJP? You can have a look at the name expansion here. Bharatiya, that is Pradhana Mantri, Bharatiya Jan Urvarak Pariyojana. Bharatiya Jan Urvarak Pariyojana. One more name for you to remember. Right, so this is the name of the scheme under which Bharat branded fertilizer will be issued by the government. Issued by the government in the sense under the scheme. Government is not right basically producing it. Private sector, government owned entities, everybody is producing, importing, etc. But this will be the brand name. But in addition to this, in 2/3 part of the bag, this will be the branding. In the remaining 1/3 part of the bag, you can see this. In the remaining 1/3 part of the bag, the private sector or any company which has manufactured this, right, has manufactured this, right, their information will be provided. The logo of the private sector company or any producer, right, the name of the company, etc., that will be provided in 1/3 part of the bag. This is basically the idea of one nation, one fertilizer. Now, this will be covering only urea. Is the statement correct? No. This will not be covering only urea. In fact, you can see, right, Bharat MOP, Bharat DAP and Bharat NPK. All the three have been given here. So this will not be covering only urea. First statement is wrong. In fact, you can use elimination method, get the answer here. Will reduce the subsidy burden for the government. Many of you will be confused here. Many of you will simply say, yes, we will have a uniformity throughout India. But how will it reduce? How will it reduce the subsidy burden for the government? It is wrong. No, it is actually correct. It will reduce the subsidy burden. How? I'll tell you. Until now, there were different manufacturers. There were different manufacturers, private sector, government owned entities, etc. Different manufacturers were there. What they used to do is, they will manufacture in one part of India, move across many districts like this, right? A movement will take place and they will sell their fertilizer saying our brand is right visible in the other district, right? There would be a lot of transportation cost involved. And what is the connection here? The government used to provide subsidies on transportation. I hope you understand this. The government used to provide subsidies for transportation. Now government says nothing doing, right? I will tell you where you will have to sell. Your brand name is not important. Uniformly, there is going to be only one brand name, that is Bharat fertilizer. So that visibility factor, the companies used to say, my product is preferred here. Now that is not a concern, right? Standards will be implemented. So now the movement will be reduced. When the movement will be reduced, automatically subsidy burden on the government will be reduced. Second statement is correct. The brand name of the manufacturer will be allowed to be printed on the fertilizer bag. Third statement is also correct, in fact. So 2 and 3 are correct. Right option for the question will be option C, 2 and 3. Okay. Question number 79 now. Consider the following statements regarding MSP. MSP stands for minimum, right? Minimum support price. Right, minimum support price. Now let's start. Minimum support price is decided by Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs. Is the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs going to decide MSP? Underline the term decide. Underline the term decide. No, it is not the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs. Just a second. Correct. Statement is correct. I misread the statement. My mistake. Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs, yes. Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs is deciding, right, the MSP. Right, I'll tell you the process here. Recommendation is given by CACP. Recommendation is given by CACP. It is the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs which will decide and announce MSP. Decide and announce MSP in India. Okay, right, so first statement is correct. CACP, CCA. Recommendation is given by CACP. Right, second one, the decision is done by CCEA. Right, Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs. Now, sir, what is the long form of CACP? Commission for Agriculture Cost and Prices. Commission for Agriculture Cost and Prices. Second statement, very tricky. First one is very straightforward. Second one is tricky. Higher bonus announced by the states along with the MSP may cause inflation. Right, think of it and let me know. Higher bonus announced by the states along with the MSP may cause inflation. Statement 2 is correct. I'll explain this. Follow the discussion carefully. Now, all of you know that the center announces the MSP. Center announces the MSP, correct? But in addition to this MSP, the states can also announce bonus. The states can also announce bonus in addition to the center providing MSP. Now imagine I'm a farmer. Okay, imagine I'm a farmer and in my state, center as usual will provide MSP of 1000. State government also has announced a bonus of 200 rupees. Now is it okay if I say that I'll be earning 1200 rupees if I sell this crop to the government? I'll be earning, right, 1200 rupees. So what I'll do? I will take more of this crop, just like me, all of you will do. We will sell it to the government. That is either under the centralized procurement or decentralized procurement. Don't worry. We will sell more and more to the government. Why? Bonus plus MSP. It's not just MSP. Bonus plus MSP. Now have a look at the next point here. When all of us will start selling more and more crops to the government, what will happen to the supply to the market? What do you think will happen to supply to the market? Supply to the market will automatically come down. Supply to the market will automatically come down. And when supply will come down, what will happen to the market prices? Market prices will start increasing. Can I say there is a potential to cause inflation here? Somebody says market price will come down. No, market price will go up. If the supply will go down, what will happen to market prices? Market prices automatically will go up. Right? Please understand the logical sequencing here. Right? So market prices will go up. That could cause inflation. Right? So have a look at the statement here. Higher bonus announced by the states along with the MSP may cause inflation. Second statement is also true. So the right option for question number 79 will be option C, both 1 and 2. Let me go to question number 80 now. What are the benefits of food grain ATM? Food grain ATM. Now very famous concept is being introduced by the states, that is Annapurti food grain ATM. Under the concept of Annapurti, we are introducing the concept of food grain ATM. Now some of you will be confused, sir, what is this food grain ATM? All of you seen an ATM machine? Right? Yes? All of you seen an ATM machine. What is there in the ATM machine? You will use your debit card, right? You will withdraw money. You will take the money out. Apply the same logic, but instead of money, now you will be withdrawing food grains. Simple idea. Instead of money, you will withdraw food grains from the machine. That is the reason this is called as food grain ATM. Right? Annapurti food grain ATM. Now, although the term looks very simple, please be very careful with what is the implication of it. Let's start. First one, it will reduce the waiting time for the beneficiaries at the ration shop. Correct or wrong? Rather than going to the ration shop, lining up, queuing up, you don't have to do that. Machine is there. Right? You will go to the machine, you will withdraw the food grains. Sir, how can I withdraw the food grains? Or do I use ATM card? No. Thumbprint. Aadhaar credentials, thumbprint. You can use the thumbprint and withdraw the food grain. It will reduce the waiting time for the beneficiaries at the ration shop. Yes. Will improve access and provide flexibility to the beneficiaries. Even this is correct. So how? Right, in some of the regions, the ration shops will open, let's say, at 10 o'clock. Instead of waiting till 10 o'clock, if the grain ATM is there, can you go and withdraw your food grains at any point of time? I hope you understand. Right? Don't you think, just like ATM, just apply the logic of ATM here. Can you withdraw your food grains at any point of time? Will it not give you accessibility as well as flexibility? Again, the statement is correct. Third one, will reduce the instances of underweighing. Right? What is this underweighing? Right? What is the guarantee that the weighing machine that is being used to weigh 5 kgs and give you food grain, the weighing machine is correct? Right? What if, right, you must have seen in various movies, in real life also, they will simply attach a magnet, right, and they will underweigh the food grains and give lesser amount of food grains to the beneficiaries. Now this is a machine. It's purely a machine. No person is involved here, right? So basically reduces the instances of underweighing. Third statement is also correct. So all the three are correct. Right option for the question number 80 will be option D, 1, 2 and 3. Now, question number 81. Consider the following statements regarding NFSA, National Food Security Act. Let's start. The beneficiaries are identified. Underline the term identified. And I'll tell you why I've taken this question. The beneficiaries are identified by the central government. Are the beneficiaries under NFSA identified by the central government? Statement 1 is wrong, but before that, why I've taken the question, let me tell you. Earlier, during the pandemic, Government of India implemented Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, PMGKAY, Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana. Right, in addition to Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, the entitlement were given to the beneficiaries under the National Food Security Act. Now, Government of India, for the current year, Government of India said, Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana will not be provided now. That is, entitlement under this will not be provided. We will subsume this. We'll simply integrate the PMGKY into National Food Security Act. We'll simply put this under the National Food Security Act. And under the National Food Security Act, now for this year, again I'm just going by the notification of the government. For this year, the food grains will be provided free of cost. For the current year, the food grains will be provided free of a cost. Right? No charges, no issue prices. Why this is important? Under National Food Security Act, there is a component called as public distribution system. Under NFSA, you will have multiple components. You have midday meals. You have integrated child development services. You have public distribution system. Now, what generally would happen is, under the public distribution system, when the beneficiaries are given the food grains, the issue price would be there. Issue price means for every 1 kg of rice, the beneficiary will have to provide 3 rupees. For every 1 kg of wheat, the beneficiary was supposed to pay 2 rupees, etc. Now this has been removed for this year. These issue prices will not be utilized. Food grains this year will be provided free of a cost to the beneficiaries. Okay, so PMGKY has been subsumed into NFSA and the food grains will be provided free of a cost under the initiative now. And just to make the point much more clear, with the merger of PMGKY into NFSA, what we are expecting is the subsidy, food subsidy bill, food subsidy burden for the government is expected to come down. Please have a look at it. For 22-23, last financial year, 22-23, the food subsidy bill, right, is 2.8 lakh crore rupees. 2.8 lakh crore rupees. And for 23-24, government expects a drop by 31%. By 31%, we are expecting a drop in the food subsidy bill to 1.97 lakh crore rupees. This is again as per the estimates. Right, but definitely yes, there will be lower food subsidy bill burden on the government, because until now look at this, beneficiaries would get the food grains under NFSA also and under PMGKY. Now nothing under PMGKY, 5 kgs free food grain if you are basically a priority household under NFSA, that is public distribution system, and you are part of Antyodaya card holder, your Antyodaya household, then 35 kg is free for 1 month. Done? So beneficiaries are identified by the central government. No, beneficiaries identified by the state governments. Second, for this year, the entitlement under NFSA is provided free of a cost. Yes, for this year it is correct. So right option for question number 81 will be option B, only 2 is correct. Question number 81. Consider the following statements regarding agriculture census. Important. Well, I'll tell you. Government of India last year, I believe in the month of July, launched agriculture census. Generally, the agriculture census is conducted once every 5 years. It is conducted once every 5 years. For the last couple of years, because of the pandemic, government was not able to conduct agriculture census. Last year in 2022, they have launched the 11th agriculture census. The first agriculture census, right, in case of India was conducted in 1970-71. 1970-71. After that, we have been conducting the agriculture census once every 5 years. But 2022, we have launched the 11th agriculture census. So, first statement, government has launched 11th agriculture census, correct. Second one, the first census was conducted in 1951, wrong. Right, 2 you can use as right, basically an elimination tool. As per the earlier census, most of the land under cultivation is medium sized. Right, please understand, no. In case of India, the last agriculture census 16 and 17, most of the land that was used for cultivation was marginal sized. In fact, if you look at the data for 16 and 17, 10th agriculture census, the marginal and the small pieces of land put together accounted for around 86%, and the highest was marginal. The marginal plus small land holdings accounted for around 86%. That's very, very high number. Right, so basically, right, it was the marginal land holdings which was the highest, not medium sized land holdings. Third statement is also wrong. 2 and 3 are wrong. 1 is correct. Right option for the question will be option A. Only 1 is correct. Okay. Question number 82. Consider the following regarding one nation, one ration card. One nation, one ration card. Now, what is this one nation, one ration card? ONORC. It is basically the concept of providing ration card portability. Ration card portability. Right? What is this idea for ration card portability? If you remember earlier I told you, the state governments will identify the beneficiary. Imagine I am living in state 1, so I am beneficiary in the state 1. I will move from the state 1 to the state 2. Of course, in the second state, I am not a beneficiary, but I am a beneficiary under NFSA. I hope you can understand the problem here. I am a beneficiary in the state 1. I have a card also, but for work purposes, let's say migrant labor, I have gone to the second state, so second state government has not identified me as a beneficiary. So don't you think there will be problem in terms of getting access to the food grain entitlement in the second state? The government simply says, with one nation, one ration card, you do not have to be worried. You do not have to be worried. Right? The argument of one nation, one ration card is, you have your Aadhaar credential and the Aadhaar credential will be used to identify whether you are a beneficiary under NFSA. If yes, how much is your entitlement? Now you can go to any fair price shop. I hope you understand this. You can go to any of these ration shops, right? Provide your Aadhaar authentication and get the entitlement from these shops. Right? That is basically the concept of one nation, one ration card. Now look at the first statement here. All the states and union territories have implemented one nation, one ration card. Answer is correct. The first statement is correct. Assam has become the latest one to implement ONRC. With that, all the states and UTs have implemented ONRC. Statement 2. This allows the beneficiaries to get access to the entitlement from the fair price shop of their choice. Of their choice. Of course, yes. If I am the beneficiary, if I have gone to the second state, now I will choose from which fair price shop I should get the entitlement. Second statement is also correct. Third one, it is being implemented by the Ministry of Agriculture. No. Please be very careful. Most of you will feel this is correct. No. It is being implemented by, right, the Ministry of Consumer Affairs. Consumer Affairs and Consumers Affairs Public Distribution. Okay, it is not the Ministry of Agriculture, it is some other ministry. So third statement is wrong. 1 and 2 are correct. Right option for question number 82 will be option A, 1 and 2. Okay. Question number 83. Consider the following regarding MMLP. Sir, what is the long form of MMLP? Multimodal Logistics Parks. Have you heard of this or not? Very recently, central government has identified a large number of states where MMLPs will be developed now. Multimodal Logistics Parks. Now, what is this idea of a multimodal logistics parks? The argument is very simple. In case of India, logistics costs are very, very high. Understand this. In case of India, the cost of logistics is very high. And what is the problem with having a higher cost of logistics? Your export competitiveness would be lower. All of you will agree? Your export competitiveness would be lower. Second, the market prices of the commodities. Market prices of the commodities are higher. So Government of India has been taking various measures in order to address the issue of cost of logistics. Very often government data itself says the cost of logistics in case of India is in the range of 12 to 14%. It is somewhere in the range of 12 to 14%. I want to drag this down to around 8%. That is the objective of Government of India. Now one of the measures that they have taken is the concept of multimodal logistics parks. More than 30 such parks have been proposed now in India. The whole objective is, imagine you want to move a product from point A to point B. Think of this. You want to move the product from point A to point B. What is the best mode for the transportation? What is the best possible way so that you can reduce the cost of logistics will be utilized? For example, sir, what do you mean by that? You want to move a product from point A to point B. Just like you, imagine there are two more companies, let's say X and Y, who also want to move their product from point A to point B. So what they will do now, all these products will be moved into one area. This is called as MMLP, Multimodal Logistics Park. MMLP, Multimodal Logistics Parks. Let's say trucks will be used. These products will be moved into MMLP. Now from the MMLP, we'll try to find out what is the best mode to transport this to be. Is it just railways where we can move these goods? Is it inland waterways where we can use waterways to move the products? Can we use a combination of railways, waterways as well as national highways, etc.? Right, so the argument is simple. What is the most effective methodology so that the cost of transportation automatically will come down. And because we are trying to use different modes of transportation, please look at the terms here. Because we are using multiple modes of transportation, right? Look at the name of this, multimodal logistics park. Multimodal logistics park. Right? That is the reason why this is called as MMLP. Now let's start. It will leverage hub and spoke model. Statement 1 is correct. Right? What is this concept of a hub and spoke model? You must have seen hub and spoke model even in case of mega food park. Remember this, I am connecting it to one more point here. Even in case of mega food parks, we use a concept of hub and spoke model. The idea of hub and spoke model is very simple. It is a type of a distribution channel, right? Procurement and distribution channel. In what way we procure and distribute, that is called as a hub and spoke model. Are we using hub and spoke model in case of MMLP? Of course, yes, just now I told you. How do we procure? From there, how do we distribute? That is hub and spoke. So first point is correct. Government has proposed a National High Speed Rail Corporation as an SPV for the implementation of this particular project. Statement 2 is wrong. Right? The Government of India has proposed NHLM, National Highways Logistics Management Company. NHLM, National Highways Logistics Management Limited, right? As an SPV, it is not NHSRC. This NHSRC is related to bullet train. It is connected to bullet train, not with MMLP, right? So second statement is correct. Here itself we can use elimination method, right? And you can get the answer. Option A is the correct one. It will be reducing the cost of logistics. Of course, yes. The whole idea is reduce the cost of logistics. Third point will be correct. So 1 is correct, 3 is correct. Right option for question number 83 will be option A. Question number 84. Consider the following statements regarding NMP. What is this NMP? National Monetization Pipeline. NMP is nothing but National Monetization Pipeline. I have given you certain snippets regarding NMP some time ago. It will be covering brownfield as well as greenfield project. Now, what is this idea of a brownfield and greenfield? Remember this, whenever the project is started from beginning or scratch, whenever you start the project from the scratch or the beginning, right, that is basically the idea of a greenfield project. Sir, any example of a greenfield project? Imagine government will ask you to construct a new airport, new project, new airport, new railway station, new road. That's a greenfield project. Whereas, imagine the airport is already there. Government will ask you to manage the airport. So the existing infrastructure project is used, that is called as brownfield. So greenfield, new project started from beginning or scratch. Brownfield, infrastructure is already there. In case of a national monetization pipeline, it will cover only the brownfield project. It will not cover greenfield project because we are leasing out the asset. We are not constructing the asset. We are simply leasing out the asset. Okay. So first statement is wrong. You can use the elimination method here. Under this, the government will be selling off the assets to private sector. Are we selling off the asset? Absolutely no. We are not selling the asset. We are simply leasing out the asset. Third one, it will be implemented between financial year 22 to financial year 25. Third statement is in fact correct. You already have the answer, but anyways, third statement is in fact correct. Please remember this. NMP is being implemented from financial year 22 to 25. National Infrastructure Pipeline, NIP, is being implemented from financial year 20 to financial year 25. So the time period when both these projects will end up, the time period is actually same. Right now we are implementing NIP as well as NMP. And both will end in the financial year 25. Okay. Right. So third statement is correct. Right option for question number 84 will be option C. Okay. Now last question. Consider the following regarding ENAM. What is the concept of a ENAM? E-National Agriculture Market. ENAM stands for E-National Agriculture Market. It is being implemented by the SFSC as a nodal agency. What is the long form of SFSC? Small Farmers Agribusiness Consortium. SFSC stands for Small Farmers Agribusiness Consortium. The nodal agency for the implementation of ENAM is SFSC. Now, what is the idea for ENAM? Simple. You have APMC mandis. All of you know this, right? You have APMC mandis, agriculture mandis. Now, these mandis will be connected to a portal. Simple. These mandis will be connected to a portal. That is, rather than, imagine I'm a farmer, you are a trader, you want to purchase the food grain. Rather than you coming to the APMC mandi, now you will simply log on to the ENAM portal and you will start bidding for the food grain. You physically do not have to come to the ENAM. That is the biggest advantage. Okay, so it is being implemented by the SFSC as the nodal agency. First statement is correct. The government provides cash assistance for all the APMCs to join ENAM. Yes, this is correct. Government of India provides somewhere around 75 lakh rupees for every APMC to develop infrastructure, to get the technology and become a part of the ENAM. Third one, ENAM will become a parallel marketing network for trading of agriculture commodities. This is wrong. Most of you will believe this is correct. No, this is wrong. It is not a parallel trading network. What we are doing is, rather than asking the buyers to come to the APMC mandi, we are simply telling them, don't come, sit in your home, right? Log on to the portal, start bidding for the food grain. So it is not one more marketing network. It is basically connecting the APMCs, increasing the visibility of the APMCs. I hope you understand. Third one is wrong. So 1 and 2 are correct. Right option for question number 85 will be option B here. Okay. So that's it from my side. Now if you have any kind of questions, please do let me know. Right? Any kind of questions, please do let me know. Now yesterday there were certain questions regarding exports. I told you that in case of the Western markets, if there is an inflation in the Western markets, Indian exports would be affected. Some of you put in a comment section saying that, sir, how is that possible? The argument is very simple. If you break up the exports from India, you will generally see that one of the very important component is, let's say, gems and jewels. Now you tell me, if there is a recession in USA, if there is a recession in the UK market, etc., don't you think the demand for these kind of goods will automatically go down? Demand for these goods will automatically go down and overall demand will also go down. Why? If there is a higher inflation in the market, money supply will go down. The central banker will increase the interest rates so that the money supply will automatically go down. So when the money supply goes down, what will happen to the demand? Demand will also go down. That is the precise reason I told you in these countries, right, which are experiencing inflation, there is a danger that Indian exports will be affected. Right? Explain question number 37. I don't have the question number. You tell me what is the point that you are confused at. I don't have question number 37 here. You tell me what is the point you are confused at. Near and rear. Now idea for near and rear is very simple. Please remember this. Both near and rear. Both near and rear are indices. Agreed? Both are indices. There is a base here for this used by RBI, published by RBI. Both are indices. But what is the importance of both? Do not calculate, do not buy at the formula, not at all relevant for UPSC. In case of near, we try to find out what is the value of Indian currency, Indian rupee against a basket of currencies. Remember this. In case of near, we are trying to find out what is the value of Indian rupee against a basket of currencies. And in case of rear, we are trying to find out trade competitiveness. That is Indian exports, imports, whether these are competitive or not. Now what is the idea of the near here? Near is an index, rear is an index. Please remember this. if REER increases, right? If REER increases, it means exports are becoming costlier. Exports will lose competitiveness. Exports will lose competitiveness. And if NEER increases, right, Rupee, I hope you understand, Rupee value is getting appreciated against basket of currencies. And apply the opposite side when NEER will decrease as well as REER will decrease. Okay, just remember the implications. Do not by heart calculations, it is not required. Okay, any other questions? Government procurement agreement. Now please understand, within WTO there is one type of a plurilateral agreement, government procurement agreement, GPA. In case of government procurement agreement, should the member country be allowed to restrict a foreign company to sell goods to the government? I hope you understand. Should India impose any restrictions to a foreign company to sell the goods to Government of India? Government of India or government owned entities. That is basically the government procurement. Government procurement agreement will discuss about this. Okay. India, right, is a signatory to that. Okay. RODTP, last concept I'll take up now. RODTP, remission of duties and taxes on export products. Under the remission of duties and taxes on export products, generally the argument is that the exporter, when they purchase certain goods like this, taxes will be imposed, but if they are out of GST, the buyer will not be given tax credit. So in that particular case, what will happen is, the buyer will transfer these taxes in the market prices and send it to the international market or export it. So when you export, including the taxes, the market price would be higher, competitiveness would be lower. So under RODTP, what we are trying to find out is, the embedded taxes are there, those embedded taxes will be remitted back, right? So that the export competitiveness will increase. In the exports, no taxes would be included. That is basically the idea of RODTEP. Done? So that's it from my side. Have a great day. All the best to all of you. A very important reminder before I wind up my session. This is just the end of the current affairs discussion related to economy. From tomorrow, Sarmat sir will be starting with discussion on polity. Do not forget to join the session live at 7:30 p.m. But before that, do not forget to hit the comment section or provide your valuable comments in the section below. Do not forget to subscribe to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS and do not forget to hit the like button. Thank you. Have a great day. All the best to all of you.